The desert was silent except for the sound of shifting sand under boots. Myra wiped sweat from her forehead as she looked at the half-buried stone wall in front of her. The sun was sinking, painting the dunes in shades of gold and red. She felt tired, but her eyes were full of energy. For weeks she and her brother Callan had been leading a small team of explorers, searching for what most people thought was only a myth. They had followed old maps, half-forgotten stories, and strange markings carved on broken tablets. Many had laughed at them, calling it a fool's journey. But now, standing in front of the strange stone wall, Myra knew they were close to something important. Callan knelt beside her, brushing away sand with his hands. His face was thin, marked by the sun and the wind, but his smile was wide. "Look at these carvings," he said. The surface of the wall was smooth and dark, unlike any other stones they had found. Lines of symbols stretched across it, sharp and deep as if carved yesterday. "They don't look like normal hieroglyphs," Myra whispered. She ran her fingers across the patterns. They were unfamiliar, yet they carried a strange order, almost like stars placed carefully in the night sky. Behind them, their team worked to clear more of the sand. The group was small, only 6 people, but each one believed in the search. The sound of shovels and brushes filled the air. As more of the wall came into view, the shape of a sealed doorway began to appear. "It is not just a wall," Callan said, standing back to take in the sight. "It is a door." The air around them grew heavy. No wind moved across the dunes. It was as if the desert itself was holding its breath. Night came quickly, and the stars rose above them. The team set up lamps to keep working. The soft light made the carvings glow faintly, giving the wall a ghostly look. Myra felt a shiver run through her, though the night was warm. She knew this was no ordinary tomb. Hours passed, and the team finally cleared the outline of the great door. It was massive, taller than 3 men standing on each other's shoulders. Its surface was smooth black stone, harder than anything they had seen. They tried tools, metal hammers, chisels, even small drills, but nothing left a mark. The door did not move, did not crack, and did not even echo when struck. "It is like the stone itself refuses us," one of the team members said in awe. Myra stared at the carvings again. She felt there was meaning hidden in them, a message waiting to be read. She pulled out her notebook and began to sketch the symbols. Each line seemed to fit into a larger picture, but she could not yet see it. Callan walked a slow circle around the door, studying it from every angle. "Why build something so strong if not to keep something hidden?" he asked. His voice was calm, but Myra could hear the excitement behind it. As the night deepened, the team gathered around a fire to rest. The desert was quiet again, with only the crackle of flames and the distant call of night birds. Myra looked up at the stars above and then back at the carvings on the stone. The symbols reminded her of constellations. She wondered if that was by design. Callan broke the silence. "Do you think this is really what we were looking for?" Myra nodded slowly. "Yes. This is it. But I don't think it is just a tomb. There is more here. Something different." The firelight reflected in her eyes, and for a moment, she felt a strange certainty. This was not just about the past. This was about something greater, something that reached beyond the desert and even beyond Earth. When dawn broke, they returned to work. The sunlight lit up the wall, and for the first time, they noticed a faint shimmer across its surface. It was as if the stone was alive, holding energy inside. Myra touched it again, and for a moment, she thought she felt a soft vibration under her hand. She pulled back quickly, her heart beating faster. Callan looked at her. What happened? She shook her head. I am not sure. But I think this door is waiting. It is not meant to open for tools. It is meant to open for something else. The team fell silent at her words. Each of them felt the weight of the moment. They had uncovered something ancient and powerful, hidden for thousands of years. But it was not simply a burial site. It was a secret, sealed with purpose, waiting for the right time and the right people. As the sun climbed higher, Myra made a quiet promise to herself. Whatever lay beyond the black stone door, she and her brother would uncover it. And when they did, the world would never be the same. The desert night was cooler than the day, but Myra could not sleep. She sat near the sealed black door, watching the strange carvings glow faintly in the light of their lamps. The fire behind her crackled softly, and her brother Callan rested nearby, but her eyes remained fixed on the wall. Something about the symbols felt alive, as if they were whispering a message only she could hear. She leaned closer, tracing the patterns with her fingers. To her surprise, the stone felt warmer now than it had in the morning. Her touch seemed to wake the carvings, for a faint shimmer began to move across them, like the slow drift of stars in the sky. Myra pulled back, startled. The glow did not fade. Instead, the symbols began to shift, lines bending and reforming into new shapes. Callan, she called quietly. Her brother stirred and walked over, rubbing his eyes. When he saw the glowing wall, he froze. It is moving, he whispered. The other team members soon gathered, their faces lit with wonder. None of them spoke loudly, as if afraid to break the silence. The carvings flowed into a new pattern, and then stopped. The wall now displayed a circle filled with dots and lines, like a map of constellations. Myra quickly pulled out her notebook and copied what she saw. Her hand shook, but she wrote carefully, sketching every detail. It is not just art, she said. It is a message. One of the team members, an older man named Rafi, stepped forward. He was skilled with languages and had studied many ancient scripts. He squinted at the glowing marks and compared them with his notes. Some of these symbols match old star charts, he said. But others, they are not Egyptian, not from any dynasty we know. Myra frowned. Then where did they come from? Rafi shook his head slowly. I do not know. But look here. This line, this is like a path. And this shape in the center, it could be the sun. The group leaned closer, whispering their thoughts. Myra stayed silent, her mind racing. The carvings seemed to tell a story, but one far older and stranger than she had ever imagined. As they studied the glowing wall, Callan noticed a small panel at the base of the door. It was hidden among the carvings, almost invisible, but the light made it stand out. He pressed his hand against it, and the ground trembled slightly. A soft hum filled the chamber, like the deep note of a distant drum. Everyone stepped back in alarm. The carvings flashed brighter, and then words appeared across the surface, not in pictures, but in letters they could read. The language was strange, yet somehow their minds understood it. Myra read aloud. The Pharaoh who ruled the land of the sun once ruled the skies as well. He guarded the secret of the stars, a gift from the travelers who came from beyond. When the time was right, the children of earth would return, and the door would open to them alone. Her voice trembled as she finished. The team stared at one another, unsure what to say. This cannot be real, one of them whispered. But the glowing words did not vanish. They remained on the wall, clear and steady, as if waiting for more to be read. Callan stepped closer, his eyes wide with excitement. Do you understand what this means? The pharaoh knew something. He was more than a king of stone and sand. He carried knowledge from the stars. Raffi nodded slowly. And he hid it here, in this chamber, waiting for someone worthy to find it. Myra's heart pounded. She thought of the long journey that had led them here, the maps, the broken tablets, the whispers of a lost tomb that had guided them across the desert. It was not chance. The pharaoh had left signs behind, leading to this very moment. But with the wonder came fear. If the secret was real, if the pharaoh had guarded knowledge from beyond the earth, what would happen if the wrong people found it? Myra looked at the glowing carvings and felt a weight settle on her shoulders. This was not just a discovery. It was a responsibility. The carvings shifted again, forming a final line of text. Myra read it aloud. The secret is not for those who seek power. It is for those who seek truth. Silence followed her words. The team stood still, each one thinking about what it meant. The flames of the campfire flickered behind them, but all eyes were on the glowing stone. Callan finally spoke. We came here searching for history, but we have found something greater. This is not just about the past. It is about the future. Myra nodded, though her heart still raced. The desert around them was vast and empty, but she no longer felt alone. The pharaoh's message had crossed thousands of years to reach them. It was as if he had been waiting, guarding a door that could only be opened when humanity was ready. She closed her notebook and looked at her brother. We need to learn more. We need to understand everything before others find this place. The team agreed, but deep inside, Myra knew their discovery would not stay hidden for long. The message of the stone was too powerful. And somewhere in the shadows of the desert, she felt that eyes were already watching. The sun had barely risen when Myra and Callan returned to the black stone door. The carvings no longer glowed, but the memory of the moving symbols stayed in their minds. The rest of the team gathered around, their faces filled with both excitement and fear. None of them knew what would happen next, but everyone understood they were standing before something beyond history. Callan studied the small hidden panel he had pressed the night before. It still shimmered faintly, as if it was waiting for another touch. Maybe it responds to us, he said. Not to tools, not to force, but to people. Myra hesitated. Her hand hovered over the panel. She thought of the warning written on the stone, about truth, and not power. She took a slow breath and pressed her palm against it. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the door gave a low rumble, like thunder rolling beneath the sand. Dust fell from the ceiling as the carvings lit up again, brighter than before. The great black door split down the middle, and the two halves slid apart with a smoothness no ancient mechanism should have. A gust of cool air rushed out, carrying with it the scent of stone and something else, something metallic, sharp, and unfamiliar. The team shielded their eyes from the sudden glow inside. When the dust cleared, a wide passage stretched before them, leading into the earth. The walls were not rough rock but polished surfaces lined with patterns of light. Strange machines stood on both sides, silent but perfectly intact. This is impossible, Raffi whispered. His voice trembled with awe. No tomb should look like this. No tomb could. Callan stepped forward first, his footsteps echoing softly. It is not a tomb, he said. It is something else. The others followed carefully, their lamps raised though they were hardly needed. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, casting moving shadows across their faces. Myra walked slowly, her heart racing. She had studied countless ruins and tombs, but nothing in her life had prepared her for this. The air inside was cooler, fresher, as if it had been preserved for centuries without decay. After several steps, they entered a massive chamber. The ceiling stretched high above them, curving like the inside of a great dome. Machines of strange design lined the walls, their shapes smooth and elegant, not built from stone but from shining metal. They hummed faintly, as if they still carried life within them. At the center of the chamber stood a raised platform. On it rested a crystal coffin, glowing with pale light. Inside lay a figure dressed in golden robes, his face calm as if in deep sleep. His skin looked human, yet there was something unusual in his features, something sharper, almost radiant. The team stood frozen. No one spoke. Finally, Myra whispered, "The Pharaoh." Callan moved closer, his eyes wide. "He has been here for thousands of years, but he looks untouched." Rafi shook his head in disbelief. "This is not natural preservation. No body should remain like this. This is something beyond anything our world has known." The glow of the machines brightened as they approached the coffin. Lines of light crawled across the floor, running toward the platform like rivers of energy. A low hum filled the chamber, growing louder with each step. Suddenly, the coffin released a soft pulse of light. The machines along the walls stirred, their surfaces flickering with strange symbols. The ground vibrated slightly, and a beam of pale blue rose from the coffin to the ceiling. The explorers stumbled back, fear flashing in their eyes. But Myra stood firm. She watched as the light above formed into a shape, a figure, tall and regal, wearing the crown of a pharaoh. His image glowed like a star, yet his eyes were clear and sharp, full of life. The team gasped. It was not the body they were seeing, but a projection, a memory preserved by the machines. The figure spoke. His voice was deep and steady, carrying power and calm. Though the words were ancient, every ear in the chamber understood them. "I am the guardian of this vault. I am the Pharaoh who walked among the stars. My body rests here, but my voice endures." The team could not believe what they were hearing. Myra's hands shook, but she forced herself to remain steady. She whispered, "He is speaking to us." The figure continued. "Long ago, travelers came to this land from beyond the sky. They shared their wisdom, and I swore to protect their gift. This chamber was built to guard what must not be misused. The knowledge here is not of kings, not of armies, but of the stars themselves." The light shifted, showing images across the walls. Constellations appeared, maps of worlds unknown. Ships of strange design moved across the skies. The explorers watched in awe as visions of distant planets filled their eyes. The Pharaoh's image turned back to them. "This place will awaken only for the children of Earth who come with truth in their hearts. If you seek power, this vault will destroy you. If you seek knowledge, it will guide you." The light dimmed slightly, and the humming grew softer. The figure faded, leaving the chamber quiet again. The coffin continued to glow, but no more words came. The explorers stood in silence, their minds heavy with wonder. They had uncovered not just a tomb, but a message across time. Myra finally spoke. "He left this for us. Not for rulers, not for war, but for those who are ready to understand." Callan looked at the glowing coffin, then at the machines that still hummed faintly around them. His eyes shone with determination. "Then we must be the ones to protect it? Whatever secret he kept, it belongs to all of humanity. Not to those who would use it for greed." The team nodded slowly. They had stepped into a chamber older and stranger than any history book could describe. And with that step, their journey had only just begun. The chamber was silent after the image of the pharaoh faded. The machines hummed softly, and the glow from the crystal coffin lit the explorers' faces. Myra stood close to the platform, her heart still racing. She could feel that the chamber was not done speaking. Something more waited to be revealed. Callan walked slowly around the coffin, his eyes sharp with curiosity. He said, "This place is a vault. That means there is something hidden here beyond what we have seen." Raffi looked uneasy. "Knowledge from beyond the sky. This is not meant for us. Maybe it is too dangerous." Myra shook her head. "He said it was for the children of Earth. That is us. We cannot walk away now. We must understand what he left behind." As if her words were heard, the light within the coffin pulsed again. The projection of the pharaoh returned, brighter and clearer than before. His tall figure looked around the chamber, as though his eyes could see each person standing there. "I speak to those who enter my resting place," the pharaoh began. His voice echoed across the walls. "Know that I was once as you are, born of earth, bound by its soil. But the sky opened to me, and I was shown a truth far greater than kingship." The explorers stood still, listening closely. The pharaoh raised his hand, and new images formed on the walls. This time, they showed ships descending from the stars, shining like silver against the night sky. Figures stepped out, tall beings with glowing eyes. They gave gifts of knowledge, strange devices, maps of constellations, and the power to build with stone and light. "They came not as conquerors but as teachers," the pharaoh said. "They spoke of unity, of wisdom, of the endless path among the stars. I was young, but I listened, and I learned. I built with their guidance, and I ruled not only by crown but by knowledge." The images shifted again, showing great cities lit by strange fires, machines moving blocks of stone with ease, temples glowing with energy. The explorers gasped as they saw visions of an Egypt that had never been written in any book. "But not all men are pure of heart," the pharaoh's voice grew heavy. "Some sought to use the gifts for power. They dreamed of weapons, of rule beyond their land. I saw greed grow, and I knew the gifts would bring ruin if left unguarded." The light dimmed for a moment, casting shadows across the explorers' faces. Myra felt a chill. "So I chose to hide the greatest of their knowledge," the pharaoh continued. "I built this vault, deeper and stronger than any pyramid. I sealed the machines and the star maps within. I let the world forget, so mankind could grow in its own time." Callan stepped closer to the coffin, his voice trembling. "And now you have awakened again. Why now?" The pharaoh's image turned toward him, and for a moment it seemed as though the eyes of the ancient ruler met his directly. "Because the sands shift, and time is short. The vault does not open by chance. It opens when the Earth's children are ready or when danger draws near." The explorers exchanged uneasy glances. "What danger?" Myra asked softly. The pharaoh's face grew solemn. "The knowledge I guard is not only a gift. It is a burden. For beyond your skies are others who seek to claim it. They once came as teachers, but not all who walk the stars are noble. Some would return to take what they left behind. If they come and mankind is not prepared, the earth will fall." The words filled the chamber like a storm. For the first time, Myra felt the true weight of their discovery. It was not just a mystery of the past, it was a warning for the future. The pharaoh's image lifted his hand again, and a star map spread across the ceiling of the chamber. Lines of light connected countless worlds, forming paths through the darkness of space. One star, brighter than the rest, pulsed steadily. This is the heart of the vault, the Pharaoh said. A map to the places where knowledge is hidden, outposts left by the travelers. They are silent now, but they wait, as this vault has waited. Guard this map, for it will guide you when the time comes. Guard it well, for others will seek it. The map faded slowly, leaving the explorers in silence again. The Pharaoh's voice grew softer, almost sorrowful. I cannot know who you are, or what time you come from. But I believe the children of earth will rise. Remember this, greatness is not in power but in wisdom, not in weapons but in unity. Only then will you be worthy to claim the stars. The projection dimmed and finally vanished, leaving the chamber in silence once more. The only sound was the faint hum of the machines and the beating of the explorers' hearts. Callan broke the silence first. He left this for us. For people like us. That means we are part of something greater than we ever imagined. Raffi shook his head, his face pale. But if he is right, others may come. If they find this before we are ready, what will happen? Myra clenched her fists. She felt fear, but also determination. Then we must protect it. We cannot let this fall into the hands of those who would use it for greed. The Pharaoh trusted us, across thousands of years. We cannot fail him. The chamber glowed softly around them, as if agreeing with her words. The explorers knew then that their discovery had changed their lives forever. They had not just opened a tomb. They had opened a responsibility that belonged to all of humanity. The desert sun was high when Myra and Callan stepped out of the chamber. Their team followed, each one silent, their minds heavy with the Pharaoh's warning. The sands stretched endlessly around them, calm and golden, but Myra felt the weight of unseen eyes. She had spoken the night before of a fear that others might discover the site. Now, as she looked at the horizon, that fear grew stronger. The group rested by their tents, drinking water and speaking quietly. Raffi still held his notes close to his chest, as if afraid they might vanish if left alone. One of the younger team members asked in a low voice, "Do you think we should tell the world what we found?" Myra shook her head firmly. "Not yet. We cannot risk it. The Pharaoh warned us that if this falls into the wrong hands, it will bring ruin. We must understand more before anyone else learns of it." But their time for secrecy was already ending. By evening, a distant sound reached them, the hum of engines cutting across the desert. The team rushed to the edge of the dunes and saw a line of vehicles moving toward their camp. The sun reflected off metal, and dust trailed behind them. Callan narrowed his eyes. They are not locals. Look at the way they move. This is organized. The vehicles stopped a short distance away, and men stepped out. They carried equipment and tools, but their posture was not that of explorers. They moved with purpose, their leader walking ahead. He was tall, dressed in desert clothes too clean to belong to someone who worked in the sand. His sharp gaze fell on Myra and her team. "Good evening," he called, his voice calm yet commanding. "I hear you have made quite the discovery." Myra stepped forward, keeping her voice steady. "This is a research site. You should not be here." The man smiled faintly. "On the contrary, we have every right to be here. Knowledge of this magnitude cannot belong to a few wandering scholars. My name is Idran, and I represent a group that has long awaited this moment." Callan clenched his fists. "What group?" Idran's eyes glinted. "A group with resources, vision, and the will to use what you have uncovered. The Pharaoh's vault holds power, does it not? Why should it gather dust when it could shape the future?" His words confirmed Myra's fears. These people had not come for truth. They had come for power. "You cannot enter," she said firmly. "This place was sealed for a reason. It is not meant for greed." Idran's smile faded. His voice grew sharper. "Do not pretend you alone are worthy. If you stand in our way, you will only delay what is inevitable." The explorers exchanged worried glances. They had no weapons, no strength to resist a well-equipped group. But Myra remembered the Pharaoh's words. The vault would test those who entered. It would not open to power. As Idran's men set up camp nearby, tension filled the air. Myra gathered her team in a circle. "We cannot let them reach the chamber unchecked," she whispered. "The vault responds to us because we seek knowledge. To them, it will bring danger. We must stay ahead of them." Callan nodded. "The machines seem to recognize you. Maybe the vault will protect itself against intruders. But we cannot take chances." That night, while Idran's group lit fires and set guards around their camp, Myra returned quietly to the black stone door. She placed her hand on the panel again. The carvings lit up, welcoming her touch. The door opened smoothly, revealing the glowing passage. Callan followed, and the rest of the team slipped inside. The chamber greeted them with the same soft hum. But this time, the light from the machines was stronger, as if aware of the approaching threat. Myra stood before the crystal coffin and whispered, "They are here. Others have come. What do we do?" The machines answered in their own way. Lines of light spread across the walls, forming barriers of glowing energy at the edges of the chamber. It was as if the vault itself was preparing a defense. Callan watched the walls in awe. "It knows. The vault understands the danger." The team gathered at the center, their hearts racing. They knew Idran would not wait long before making his move. The rival camp was too close, too determined. Outside, the desert wind shifted, carrying voices from Idran's camp. His men were already preparing equipment to force their way in. The explorers could hear the faint metallic clang of drills and hammers, though none would ever scratch the black stone. Myra's voice was calm, though her hands shook. "The Pharaoh said the vault would open only to those who seek truth. If Idran tries, the vault may test him. But we must be ready. This is not just about discovery anymore. This is a fight for the future." As the night deepened, the glow inside the chamber grew brighter, and the machines hummed louder, as if sensing the coming clash. Myra and her brother stood side by side, aware that the next dawn would not bring peace. The rival claim had begun, and with it, the true trial of the vault. The chamber was alive with light and sound. Myra and her team stood near the glowing crystal coffin, watching the machines along the walls stir as if aware of the danger outside. Idran's group had made their presence clear, setting up equipment and trying to force their way through the desert. But the vault seemed to respond only to those who were worthy. Myra took a deep breath and placed her hand on the black stone door's panel. The carvings lit up in a soft golden glow, and a faint vibration ran through the floor. It was as if the vault itself was preparing a challenge. Callan leaned close, his voice low. "It is testing us. We must show it we are here for the right reasons." The chamber began to change. The walls shifted slightly, forming new patterns of light and symbols. Platforms rose from the floor, creating a path toward the center of the chamber. Each step was accompanied by a soft hum, like the heartbeat of the vault. Myra stepped forward first. She felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her. Every movement mattered. The light of the machine seemed to follow her, illuminating the path in response to her careful steps. The first trial appeared as a wall of moving symbols. They formed shapes, constellations, and puzzles that required attention and thought. Myra studied them, recognizing patterns from the Pharaoh's star map. She pointed to the correct symbols, and the wall parted, revealing the next part of the path. Behind her, the others followed, copying her actions. The team worked together, solving each puzzle with care and thought. Every time they made a mistake, the vault shifted slightly, giving them a second chance but reminding them that their intentions must be true. Meanwhile, Idran's group tried to force their way inside. They struck at the black stone door with tools and machinery, but the surface remained unmoved. Sparks flew against the solid stone, but nothing broke. The vault did not respond to greed or force. Outside, frustration and anger grew among Idran's men. Inside, the challenges became more complex. The next trial required them to move objects using the energy of the machines. Crystals floated, guided by light, forming bridges and stairways across gaps in the chamber. Myra and Callan worked together, aligning the crystals carefully. The others followed their guidance, moving in harmony. The vault seemed to hum louder as they succeeded, as if approving of their teamwork. Myra realized the trials were not only tests of intelligence, but also of heart. Only cooperation, courage, and focus could unlock the next level. A sudden glow appeared at the end of the chamber. It revealed a pedestal holding a small device that pulsed with light. When Myra touched it, the chamber shivered slightly. Lines of energy connected the device to the walls and the coffin, forming a glowing web across the floor. A voice echoed, soft but clear, though no projection appeared this time. You have shown wisdom, courage, and unity. These are the qualities of the children of Earth. You seek truth, not power. Only such hearts may see the final secret. The explorers looked at each other with amazement. They had passed the trials, but they also understood that the challenges were more than tests. They had learned the value of working together and of thinking beyond personal gain. Callan turned to Myra. The Pharaoh designed this to protect the knowledge. Only those who understand its responsibility can reach it. Myra nodded, her eyes on the glowing device. We have come this far. We must continue. The rival group will not stop. But we are ready, and the vault has shown us that together, we can succeed. Outside, Idran's group grew desperate. Their tools had failed, and their attempts to reach the chamber only caused frustration. They did not understand the vault, and it would not open for them. The energy from the walls pulsed toward the explorers inside, keeping the intruders at bay. Inside, the chamber continued to shift as the explorers approached the final pedestal. Each step was careful, each action deliberate. The machines guided them, glowing brighter with every correct choice. Myra felt a mixture of fear and excitement, knowing that the final secret was near. When they reached the pedestal, the device responded to Myra's touch. The light spread across the chamber, illuminating every corner. Symbols and star maps appeared in midair, showing pathways to distant worlds, locations where knowledge had been hidden by the Pharaoh and the travelers. This is it, Myra whispered, awed. The final secret. The vault hummed softly, as if approving. It had tested the explorers, judged their hearts, and allowed them to see what was meant only for those who sought truth. Callan looked around at the team, their faces filled with wonder and pride. We did it. The Pharaoh trusted us, and we did not fail him. Myra smiled, but her mind was already thinking of the challenges ahead. Outside, Idran's group would not give up. They would continue to seek the vault, but the explorers now knew that courage, wisdom, and unity were stronger than force or greed. The trial was complete, but the real journey had only just begun. The explorers had earned the right to protect the Pharaoh's secret, and to carry it into a future that could change the world. The chamber glowed with a soft golden light as Myra and her team stood before the final pedestal. The device at its center pulsed gently, casting moving patterns across the walls. The machines along the chamber hummed in harmony, as if acknowledging the explorers' courage and wisdom. Myra took a deep breath and placed her hand on the device. Immediately, lines of light shot up from the pedestal, forming a web that stretched across the chamber ceiling. The walls became a map of stars, planets, and strange outposts, each glowing softly. Myra realized that the Pharaoh's final secret was not treasure, not gold, not weapons, but knowledge, hidden paths that connected Earth to distant worlds. Callan stepped closer, his eyes wide. Look at this. These are not just stars. They are locations. Outposts left by the travelers the Pharaoh spoke about. Raffi examined the glowing patterns. And they are still intact. These places are waiting to be explored. The Pharaoh preserved them for humanity, to guide those who are worthy. Myra nodded slowly, understanding the weight of what lay before them. This knowledge was powerful. It could change the way humans saw the universe, give them tools to explore the stars, and teach them lessons from civilizations older than their own. But it could also be dangerous if used carelessly. The device pulsed again, and a soft voice, echoing through the chamber, spoke clearly. You have proven yourselves worthy. You have shown courage, wisdom, and unity. The secret is not for the greedy, nor for those who seek to dominate. It is for those who seek truth, understanding, and the future of the children of Earth. Myra felt a shiver of awe. The Pharaoh trusted us, she whispered. He trusted humanity to make the right choice. Outside the chamber, the desert was quiet. Idran's group had grown frustrated with their failure. They had no way to force the black stone door open. They could not understand the machines, nor the star maps. Their greed had blinded them. Inside, Myra and her team studied the patterns on the ceiling. They saw connections between worlds, potential trade routes, and outposts filled with knowledge and technology far beyond anything on Earth. The Pharaoh's gift was clear: humanity now had a chance to rise, to explore the stars, and to continue the work of the travelers who had once come to their planet. Callan stepped forward and placed his hand next to Myra's on the pedestal. We cannot keep this to ourselves. But we must be careful. Knowledge without wisdom can destroy more than it creates. Myra nodded. We will protect it. We will learn from it first. We will share it only when humanity is ready. The machines hummed louder as if agreeing. Symbols glowed around the room, and a soft vibration ran through the floor. It was as if the chamber itself was celebrating the explorers' success, acknowledging that the vault had chosen wisely. Myra turned to her team. We have a responsibility. The Pharaoh entrusted us with his secret, and we must honor that trust. This is bigger than any of us. Raffi smiled, a mix of pride and awe on his face. We are the guardians now. Not of treasure, but of the future. The crystal coffin pulsed one last time. From it, the projection of the Pharaoh appeared, a final image of his calm, wise face. Remember this, he said. The greatest power is not in control, but in understanding. The children of Earth must rise together, not alone. Protect knowledge. Protect truth. Protect the path to the stars. And then the projection faded. The chamber returned to its quiet, glowing state, the machines humming softly in anticipation of those who would come in the future. Myra looked at Callan. We did it. We passed the trials. We understand the responsibility now. Callan smiled, though his eyes were serious. Yes. And we will protect it? No one unworthy will take this from us. The Pharaoh trusted humans to rise, and now we must prove that trust. The team left the chamber carefully, closing the black stone door behind them. The desert outside was calm, but the explorers felt different. They had seen something beyond Earth, beyond history. They had touched a secret that would guide humanity for generations to come. As they walked toward their camp, Myra looked up at the stars. For the first time, they did not feel distant or unreachable. She understood now that the Pharaoh's final secret was not only a map to distant worlds, but a lesson: humanity had the courage, the wisdom, and the unity to rise and explore them. The team camped that night under the open sky, the stars reflecting the patterns they had seen inside the vault. They spoke softly, planning how to study the knowledge and prepare for the future. Idran's group remained in the distance, defeated but aware that one day they might try again. But for now, the explorers had succeeded. The dead Pharaoh's secret had been revealed, and humanity had proven it was ready to protect it. The vault was no longer just a tomb or a hidden chamber. It was a promise that one day, the children of Earth could rise and walk among the stars. Myra and Callan sat together, watching the desert night. The adventure had changed them, given them a purpose greater than any discovery they had ever imagined. And deep inside, they knew the Pharaoh's legacy would continue, guiding humanity toward a future filled with wonder, courage, and hope.